I'm worried. No, I mean it, I'm really worried. I've just mentioned to a Dubai friend of mine that I've booked myself a return ticket with China Southern Airlines to Beijing, and her reply is beginning to haunt me. Holy Mary, Mother of God, she says, are you mad? It turns out that she has flown this exact same trip with China Southern, or CZ as it's known in the trade, some 6 months ago. And to say she did not enjoy the experience would probably be an understatement. I explained to her that as I booked at such short notice, my normal first choice, Qatar Airways, was full. Surely it can't be that bad, I press her. I mean, I add matter-of-factly, nothing could be worse than British Airways, save perhaps for American Airlines or Romania's Tarom, surely. Her reply gives me further room for concern. I decide to do some homework. After all, she may just have been unlucky. I look up TripAdvisor. It usually contains a load of unbiased reports, which in the past I've found quite useful. But the omens are not good. Possible savings aren't worth it, I read. If you're getting cooped up in a plane for however many hours, there are a lot more comfortable and safer ways to do it than with CZ. You get what you pay for, not a lot, opines another. Planes slightly seedy. I wouldn't choose to fly China Southern if I had a choice. And so on. But it's too late. I've booked the non-refundable ticket and I'm destined to fly with them, like it or not. I decide to think positive. Let's do some research on the airline itself, and what better place to start than their website. In 2009, I learn, CZ was the world's third largest airline by passengers carried. In addition, it was Asia's largest airline in terms of both fleet size and in passengers carried. It's also the fourth largest airline in the world in domestic passenger traffic and the sixth largest in scheduled domestic passenger kilometres flown. China Southern Airlines also carries more domestic cargo than any other airline. There you are, it surely can't be that bad if it's that successful. China Southern Airlines is committed to providing timely, convenient and considerate services to every passenger, the CZ site continues, which provides some slight relief. I try to reserve a seat on the flight rather than take a chance that I'll be assigned an aisle seat. Legroom is always a problem for me on Asian airlines, none more so than with Cathay Pacific, which not only has its seating laid out for midgets, but also has the most uncomfortable seats that could ever have been designed, and that have recently been installed on all their aircraft. So I get back onto the China Southern website and press the myriad combination of buttons to try to get me to the seat reservation section. No can do. It appears only some flights can have their seats booked online, and Dubai to Beijing is not one of them. I make a mental note to arrive at the airport in plenty of time to assure myself of my necessary comforts. Fast forward a couple of days, and Dubai Airport is once again graced by the presence of your favourite podcaster. I'm fourth in the queue at check-in, and a charming check-in girl handles my booking. She's happy to give me an aisle seat and wishes me a pleasant journey. I run the gauntlet of Dubai Airport's ghastly immigration officers and then settle down with my Samsung Galaxy to pass the time till boarding. It appears that the entire flight is made up of Chinese passengers, save for 2 Indians, a couple of Arabs, and me. As the flight is called, a surge of passengers tries to be first in the queue. The moment of reckoning has arrived. I squeeze myself into the melee and find myself on board a brand new Airbus A330. Could I have jumped in time and space into a parallel universe? Or am I still lying in my bed, dreaming my impossible dreams? For starters, the legroom is better than anything I've ever experienced in any economy cabin on any airline. I even find myself wishing, later on in the flight, that a passenger immediately in front of me would put his seat back so that I could reach the pull-down table with my onboard meal. It's that far away. Even the onboard toilets in economy class have flowers placed in them, not plastic ones, but real carnations, which adds a nice touch. True, the flight attendants are, as many had previously written, surly to the point of rudeness. But during the flight, I don't see a single Chinese passenger saying thank you or even acknowledging the trolley dollies as they hand out drinks and meals. Breaking the mould, I venture a smile and assist you as I'm handed my glass of apple juice, and am rewarded with a charming smile and excellent service from there on in. The girls, by the way, all look as if they've been hand-picked from the ranks of China's basketball teams, for they're all tall and slender, probably, I decide, so they can easily reach the overhead lockers that so many of the passengers have great difficulty coping with. As the flight is not full, the passengers don't even wait for the doors to close before wandering around looking for a better seat. A game of musical chairs ensues as one moment a middle-aged woman wearing a microskirt plonks her ample bottom down on an empty aisle seat, only to find on going to the loo that her place is immediately taken by an old man who is dissatisfied with his place at the back. An argument breaks out on her return, but the man is adamant that this is now his chair. Unfortunately, Flus's original chair has been taken by someone else, and so the charade continues up and down the plane. We taxi to the end of the runway, and we're off. A pre-recorded tape is played to those few of us who don't understand the very detailed Chinese announcement being made. "We cherish the chance to serve you," we are told, as the flight attendants simultaneously bow to the passengers, Japanese style. The lights are turned off for the nighttime takeoff, and we're away. Almost everyone falls asleep, as in common with many airlines, the heating is turned up, sending everyone into a comatose state. But 25 minutes later, the lights are turned on again, with drinks being served. The majority of passengers keep on sleeping, and I wonder if this is a deliberate ploy on behalf of the cabin staff to lighten their workload. The courtesy wash bags with complimentary toothbrush, earplugs, eye shades, and so on are handed out. One old guy, unsure what to do with his earplugs, carefully pushes one up each nostril before seeing where others stick them. He slowly removes them and stuffs them into his ears before curling up and going to sleep. All is now quiet on board as the lights are again turned down to almost zero. The so-called entertainment system consists of some overhead screens showing in turn a couple of Chinese films and a Harry Potter movie covered in Chinese ideograms. I don't see anyone bothering to watch. Some of the passengers decide to use the generous legroom to curl up on the floor rather than adapt their bodies to the shape of the chairs. After one bolshy individual sticks her legs out into the gangway, tripping up every person brave enough to stumble up the almost pitch-black aircraft, one of the attendants comes to remonstrate with her. But she will have none of this, and continues cursing everyone who trips over her legs throughout the flight. Eventually, it's time for breakfast. The lights are turned up ever so slightly as hot wet towels are handed out to those very few people who are actually awake at this ungodly hour. The majority continue to sleep on, and are only finally woken up when the lights are switched on to full power as the trolley dollies once more start handing out the breakfast trays. There's a choice of beef noodle or chicken noodle, and the food is not at all bad as airline meals go, and I, in common with the Chinese, slurp up the noodles with my mini-fork, hoping the gravy doesn't fly everywhere as I do so. Finally, a short film is shown going through loads of possible exercises that can be performed in the comfort of your seat to relieve cramped and tired muscles. This, it appears, is the moment the passengers have all been waiting for. Almost in unison, the planeload of people go through their calisthenics together, waving arms in the air, bending their heads in all directions, and generally having a jolly good time. We arrive in Beijing a full hour ahead of schedule and tumble out into the old and slightly dilapidated terminal building. I step back into my original parallel universe. Could this really have been the same airline that my friend had warned me about? I make a memo to self to check at a future date that we were indeed talking of the same flight. For I certainly would fly China Southern again, even if Qatar Airways was not fully booked another time. Holy Mary, Mother of God, what an airline!